Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I am going to be sharing a very important dream that I received early this morning. And I will have to say this is one of the most powerful dreams I've ever received. Um, so I'm gonna go ahead and read to you guys what I wrote down because when I got up this morning, I knew I had to write this down before I lost any details to this dream. So, this is what I wrote. I dreamt that I was in a school setting and this place was huge. I knew it was time to dismiss and people were starting to leave. I walked inside this room and I could see a large amount of people coming down the stairs to leave. But I was walking up the stairs. I knew I had to confront the person that was in charge, and it just so happened to be Obama. As I was walking up these steps, there were white flags and white t-shirts positioned on a banister along the steps. Each flag wasn't like a flag per se where it represented different nations, but it was like a white flag, and in the center of the flag would represent either a country or just various pictures. It was the same with the t-shirts. There were white t-shirts that had different pictures in the center of the t-shirt, but some of the t-shirts had an American flag also in the center of the t-shirt. So as I'm seeing this, I intentionally was looking for a flag or a t-shirt that had an American flag on it. I could see people I knew that were passing me by as I walked up the steps, and they were confused by what I was doing. In this moment, I felt a little fear of showing the people that were familiar with me what I was about to do. Once I got to the top of the stairs, I spoke with a loud and authoritative voice and said, "Whoa." Now, when I said it, it was like, whoa, but I'm telling y'all, it was so much. The voice that was coming from me, it wasn't my voice. It was very strong. It was very assertive, very authoritative. I knew this was God's voice saying, whoa, but it extended it. And as I said that, I started walking close to where Obama was standing. And I could see about 5 or 6 men starting to walk towards me. I knew they were his workers. I then looked at Obama and said, "You are Lucifer." Again, when I spoke those words, these were not my words. It didn't sound like me. It sounded like an authoritative voice. And it just said, "You are Lucifer." As soon as I said this, the men started surrounding me. And I could hear their spirits growling, like it was so loud and very intimidating. I began to speak in another language, and I started extending my right hand towards them. Obama disappeared, and I began warring with the men until they were all defeated. So after that, I then began soaring through other parts of this place. And throughout this whole dream, it wasn't like I was walking. The only time I really saw myself walking was when I was walking up the steps. After that, throughout this whole dream, I'm soaring or hovering. And I began to soar through other parts of this place. And I kept saying, "Peace, peace, peace." And I then saw myself enter into another part of this building, this place that I was in. And I could feel the chaos and the evil that was present with the men that were in this place. And every room I went into, there were men, and there were also, the people that were participating in this school. You will always see some of those people in these rooms. So, like I said, I could feel the chaos and the evil that was present with these men. They were inciting all types of evil. I started warring again, speaking with great authority. In order to defeat some of these men, I had to clash both of my fists together which created a strong impact when defeating these men. So just so I can give y'all a clear understanding of what I mean, when I say I was warring with these men, it was more so me extending my right hand, and I was speaking in another language. I don't know what I was saying, but when I would extend my hand and I would start speaking, they would begin to fall and they were defeated. Now, when I said I clashed both of my fists together, my hand was doing this. Like, so as soon as I would do that, it was like an extreme amount of force would come. And as soon as I did that, it's like they couldn't take the power that was coming from me doing that, and they will fall and literally be defeated. So that's what I mean when I describe that. So every time I conquered one part of this place, I would move to the next. There was another room I entered into where I was defeating these men through a song I was singing. I was singing in another language, but I do remember saying, Yahuda, Yahweh, something like that. And I just was singing something else with that melody. But I don't remember what I was saying, but I just remember after I would say what I was saying, I would then say, Yahuda, Yahweh. After that, I began soaring again through the halls of this place. And I kept saying, peace, peace, peace. I then went into the last room and I saw one man left. And I knew he was the last one to be defeated. I saw a wall of fire behind him. And I started speaking again in another language with great authority. I would move my right hand with force, and every way I moved it, the man would fall hard. So when I would extend my right hand, I would move it really hard to the right, and he would fall really hard to the right. And I would just do that. And after me doing that for a while, finally the man laid on the floor as if he couldn't fight anymore. And I then said, repent, repent, repent. And again, it did not sound like me. It sounded like a very authoritative voice. And then slowly the man got up and his countenance began to change right before my eyes. His face became softened. And I said, you are now a new creature. Sin no more. That's what I said. I said, you are now a new creature. Sin no more. After that happened, I then left that room and I began soaring through the halls again. And I saw sick people laying in beds. And I said, be healed. And they would get up healed. And I said, let the dead arise. And I could see people walking out of rooms that seemed to be there for a while. I then found myself soaring outside and I was praying for America. And I kept saying, peace, peace, peace. And what looked to be dark and gloomy became light and beautiful. The sun would shine wherever I would soar. And I then started saying, peace, be still. Peace, be still. Peace, be still. And then I woke up. Now, I know that was a lot, but I have to say, when I first woke up, one of the first things that popped in my mind was I was so full of gratitude because I have, in so many ways, been really wrestling with the word that God told me to share when it came to what he was going to do in 2023. That has been such a heavy word for me. And I have shed a lot of tears. I have prayed a lot of prayers. And I have been really operating in a faith that I don't think I've ever moved in before. I have been really pulling on God so much because this word has been so heavy for me, about the word where God said that he was going to restore this nation. And there were so many other things that God said in that word, but I have been pulling on God. And for him to be pouring, I mean, y'all, this month alone, God has been really pouring on me. I haven't shared everything that He has shown me, but He has been pouring out on me. Even to the point where yesterday, and I'm not going to share everything because I'm still sitting on it. I still need more clarification. But what I will share is God specifically had me what looked to be in the Middle East. And He specifically spoke to me in regards to Pakistan, Turkey, and Africa. And He started showing me the spirit that has been working behind the scenes when it comes to Africa. And even in that dream, it was so much God was showing me. And I've been so mind blown. But for Him to show me this the next day, which was this morning, I am so in awe. But the fact that I saw Obama, because I knew when I was walking up them steps, I knew I had to encounter the one who was in charge of this place. And I mentioned to y'all about me seeing the white flags and the white t-shirt. The understanding that I had was I needed to grab hold of something that was representing America on it, whether it was the flag or t-shirt. I did end up grabbing a t-shirt because the t-shirt that I grabbed had the American flag in the center. But I understood I needed to grab one of these two items that represented America, because I knew that God was helping me understand that what you're about to do throughout this whole, experience of seeing what I saw in this dream, that it was pertaining to America. That was what was made known to me. Now, when I saw Obama, the fact that I said, "You are Lucifer," that was so specific. And to my recollection, I have never, ever identified Obama in a dream as Lucifer. So I believe God intentionally referred to him as Lucifer because of who I was dealing with. It was like God was referring to Satan as the name that he was given from the beginning, which was Lucifer. And so for that to transpire, and then shortly after that, that's when I had to start defeating these men. And like I told y'all, I knew these men were working alongside of Obama. The vibe that I had initially, before it even got there, these men were scattered abroad, this whole place. They were kind of like leaders, if you will, that were responsible in organizing certain things when it came to the people that was in this place. And of course, the people who were there did not know who these people were spiritually. But when I called Obama Lucifer, those men immediately started surrounding me, because at first they wasn't taking me seriously. They just kind of, had this look on their face like, she's just a little weakling. She don't know what she's doing. But as soon as I called Obama Lucifer, that's when they all started surrounding me, and I started hearing their spirits growling. Now, I want to say too that all throughout this dream, I know it had nothing to do with me. I was literally being taken from place to place to place. Whatever I said, whatever I did, it was completely and totally me being led by God. And y'all, it was so powerful though. Like, I know I've said this many times, but I wish there was a way I could record everything I saw and let y'all see it, because sometimes it is so hard to put in words what you're seeing, what you're experiencing. But it literally felt like I was who I've always been. And meaning that the way I was moving, the way I did not have fear, it was like I knew who I was. I knew who my God was. I knew that I could face the enemy head on and no harm would touch me. I knew that if I extended my right hand, that God would be behind that and I would see the power of God move. It was just annoying all throughout, from what I was saying in a different language, the song I was singing in a different language. It was all inspired by God. And it was even so powerful when I saw that man literally laying on the floor, because he didn't have no more fight. He knew that he couldn't defeat me, or the God that was in me. He knew he couldn't defeat it. But when I spoke, or when God spoke through my mouth and said, repent, 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 to see how that man started slowly getting up, as he was taking steps and moving and starting to rise up from that floor, he was changing. And I was seeing the changes in his face and his countenance. And when he stood up, he stood so tall and strong. And I knew God spared him, because he could have been defeated. But God chose for that man to have grace placed upon him so that he could repent and turn around, or turn away, I should say, from what he had done. And for that voice to speak out of my mouth, you are a new creature. Sin no more. Y'all, that was powerful. I mean, I can't explain how powerful it felt moving in that way and experiencing it head on, as if this was really, really happening. And as I was soaring through the halls of this place, I saw how people looked so defeated in their face. Their countenance was so down and trying. But when I said, be healed, you could see life coming back into their face. You could see people who were restricted to being, in the bed. They started rising up from the bed and walking. And when I saw myself outside and I said that it looked gloomy and dark, the environment around this place, it was so dark and gloomy. It didn't look like there was any life. But as I'm soaring like this, and each way I would turn, each area I would end up, I would say, peace, be still, peace, be still. And every time I would say peace, be still, it was like the sunshine was shining those areas, and what looked dark became light. What looked like death looked like there was life. And the sun was shining in those areas, and it was so beautiful to see how in a moment, just me saying peace, you could see it manifest in the atmosphere, and the environment started to look peaceful. And I understood when I said peace, be still. I understood that as the environment and the atmosphere was changing from dark to light, from gloomy to beauty, I knew when I said be still, that meant that no darkness could change what God had just, brought back to life. Nothing could change what was turned around to represent beauty. It was just powerful, y'all. Like, it was extremely powerful. I truly believe, again, that God gave me this dream because I have so been praying. I have been praying over this nation. I have been so specific in my prayers, and I have been crying out to the Lord to please show up in the word that he had me speak. And I truly believe with all my heart and soul that God was showing me how he's performing this word behind the scenes. I believe with all my heart that God is moving. And y'all, I know there is so much more that I don't fully understand when it comes to what all was shown to me and what God has been pouring upon me for when I tell you, as soon as August came in, it's like my dreams took off. And these are not just dreams. These, I know, are dreams that God is bringing upon me because he's telling me something. He's showing me what he's doing. I never shared this with y'all, but I want to say last month sometime. It could have been in June, but it wasn't. It was around June or July. I had been praying and asking the Lord to help me understand, where am I? Where do you have me right now? And that night, I was talking to the Lord and I'm like, Lord, I don't know where you have me. Where am I? Please help me understand where I am. And it's clear as day. I had laid down that night, and in the middle of the night, I heard my spirit speaking, and it said, I am in Egypt. Clear as day. And what is so fascinating to me is, if you look at the things that are taking place right now and what has been taking place. I mean, even in the month of, I want to say around October, September, October of last year, God led me to study the book of Exodus. He started speaking to me a lot about Exodus. And I didn't fully understand, but I was going with it. I'm like, okay, I just feel led to do this. And then here it is, we see all these different plagues. They're even talking about how leprosy, and they made it a point in the media to say the biblical plague. Y'all, God is showing us in so many ways where we are. And I know a lot of people, they see things from a certain perspective, but when you really study the book of Exodus, it's a clear image of where we are. I am completely and totally in awe of what all God has showed me. And I know He showed me this because He knew how much I needed more confidence. I needed more faith. I needed more assurance that what He spoke to me, not only was it Him, but that He was going to perform that word. So I feel so much more hopeful. I feel so much more encouraged. And I wanted to share this with you all so you guys can remain hopeful, and so that you guys can be encouraged that God is going to move upon that word. And if you guys did not hear the word for 2023, I will link it somewhere up here, and it will also be in one of the cards at the end of this video. But I wish, oh my gosh, I wish I could put more into words what I saw, but I don't know how. I did not hear my voice at all. It was the voice of God speaking through me throughout this dream. I felt His presence, and I knew it was God working through me. I knew that. And for God to be continually showing me doing these things, I know that this is going to be a reality at some point. We are and have been in training. It only makes sense that all of this we've been enduring, all of this that we have been persevering through, all of the trials and the hardships and the long sufferings and the waiting, all of that, it is because we are being trained for something that is to come. And we have to know how to endure, how to be strong, how to stand in faith and trust God when it doesn't look possible. There is coming a time, you guys, where everything you've been training for, you're going to fully walk into it. And you're going to be everything that God always knew you were going to be. And it's going to be, I can only imagine how amazing it will be to finally see who you really are. Finally walk in who you were meant to be. This may sound impossible to some of y'all, but I believe it's very possible. God has been showing me do amazing things for years. Way before I even came on YouTube, He has been showing me so many amazing things. Trust God, you guys. I know sometimes it can be hard and you're questioning, and sometimes there is parts of you that doubt. But even in those moments, because I've been there, you have to pray for God to help your unbelief. You got to pray to God to help you trust. Because when you are moving with God, it's going to look impossible. Because the things God will have you do, it's going to go beyond what is natural. God is not in this natural realm. He's in a spiritual realm. And when God is moving you, it's going to look very much supernatural. Because the average person won't be able to understand it or explain it. But God is using people. And He will use people in a great way. And you have to learn how to believe. You have to learn how to believe and truly be led by the Spirit of God. Because it's going to look different when it comes to how you move in this natural realm. So I'm going to leave it there. I love y'all dearly. Man, y'all hold on. Hold on to your faith. Hold on. There is more to come. And I'm not talking about what looks to be doom and gloom. God is doing something. And when you look at that word restore, it means to bring back to its original place. So God is, He's turning things around back to its original place. So before there was chaos and destruction and mayhem, there was the opposite of that at one point. And that is what God meant when He said that He was turning things around and that He was going to restore this nation. I love you guys. I'll see you all in the next video, Lord willing. Take care. Shalom.